the front yard inside Ellis Island.
Next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt God bless you, Canada.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Calgary's in town to take on the Golden Knights. All hell is broken loose today. Not necessarily at Ellis Island, but with the show. Cofield and Company in the front yard. Good crowd building here. World Series is on. And I've been a patient Yankees fan over the weekend because I was around the significant other, so I try not to war with her. I'm Yankee, she's Dodgers. But enough of the Freddie Freeman stuff. Come on, dude. It's craziness. Yes, that was Lee Greenwood. RJ Clifford, Lee Greenwood's one of your guys, isn't he? You're a big country guy. You're a Patriot.
Election season. During election season, Cofield, you are going to tarnish that beautiful song.
I didn't sing it. He did it.
You played it. You're guilty by association.
It sort of hit the recognition of a lot of folks this weekend on HBO. John Oliver had earned that, and Lee Greenwood's one of those guys who's like really ridden that song to some financial success. And I was watching as he played it. I was like, oh my God, he did that. Really? He did that. He really did it. He did. God bless the USA for Canada. It's pretty crazy. Did you vote yet?
Oh, I don't vote.
You don't. Come on. I forgot about this stupid. I will not go off on you, but I forgot. We had this conversation years ago when we did Sirius XM, the MMA channel. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, you can virtue signal your politics on your own time. There's no good options here, Cofield. Can
I in no way was going to virtue signal. The only thing I will mention about voting is that I did put my money where my mouth was and is. I was not happy with the people locally because I think local elections really matter, and they matter for this reason. Was not happy with our county commissioners and our local reps assembly and senators who voted yes to give John Fisher all this money. And we're seeing kind of how this went because I don't think a lot of them did a lot of research. I think they did what they were told to do. So they got no votes. Anyone I could vote against got no votes. So there you go.
Well, you hold so much sway and power in the city of Las Vegas, Cofield. It's a little different with you as a long-time radio host with ears and minds and hearts of such a large constituency. I'm surprised you haven't been paid off by some politician yet. Or maybe you have. I don't know. I can't. I don't have my finger on the pulse of Las Vegas politics as well. I got to go back and see what your inaccuracies are.
Well, we've been consistent today in this. Anytime we have the Raiders slotted for a long discussion, we try to talk about something else for as much time as possible to avoid it.
Yeah.
And
Can I weigh in on the dog situation?
Well, here's the thing. I don't Ellis Island loves dogs. Front Yard loves dogs. I'm always fascinated by the emotional support dog. And I pointed out a couple minutes ago for anyone tuning in, there's a woman here watching the Yankees-Dodgers, and she's off to a good start. She's a Dodgers fan, Dodgers hat on. And I was just saying, hey, dude, I can't go up and sneer and jeer. I think the Dodgers are basically going to take that out of my hands by ripping the Yankees tonight. But what was your follow-up?
Well, my thing was you should ask her if she's a Raider fan, because I think Raider fans should be allowed an emotional support pack of dogs after this season. An emotional support snake, an emotional support bison, whatever animal.
I was going to say, is that one animal for you, and then the rest are to go and sick the opponent?
Just I need fur to wipe my tears off. You know, whatever emotional support I can get. Again, those 4 in a row.
Yeah, it's horrific, and I come out of a lot of NFL weekends, and I'm like, why do I do this? And this is one of those weekends where you start ranking just how awful it was for pro football fans, and the Raiders are like, they're certainly on the list. I mean, what happened to the Bears? Like Griffin, who's running the show, he's a Bears fan. I'm not gonna mock on him. That's one of the worst things I've ever seen in a Hail Mary. Not only because the Hail Mary delivered, but have you ever seen that where a defender is off to the side, like jerking around with the fans, and all of a sudden he's like, oh crap, and runs into the play and tips the ball to the receiver?
I'm not a big like there's something greater out. I'm pretty agnostic, right? I'm not, I don't believe, but is there a greater sign that it's real, that what goes around comes around, than what he did, that DB? Like, that's proof. That is scientific proof that karma is real. That he just volleyballed 8 setting 4 with a Hail Mary.
Yeah. Well, I think there are probably some Chiefs fans who take football a little too seriously, and their personal deity, Patrick Mahomes, a little too seriously, who were really into that Kermit thing, like really mad about it. And then I do like the Raiders fans did dress as Kermit, some of them, and had Kermit puppets. I guess it was funny until the game started.
Well, who else could we possibly have anything over? Like, we were the last team to beat the Chiefs, right? We handled Patrick Mahomes pretty well. I mean, what else do we have? What else can we sink our? Oh, we upset the Ravens. Sweet. That felt like 10 years ago. Like, that's how we can talk about Brock. We can only talk about Brock Bowers so many times, looking for something positive to talk about with the Raiders. And it's not even like Patrick Mahomes had this great game, or there was any revenge from the Chiefs. It was Antonio Pierce just getting outcoached. It was a run offense that was just embarrassingly terrible, next level awful. The entire Alexander Madison averaged 1.1 yards per carry, 14 carries, 15 yards. The running backs can't move. These were the longest runs of the day for the Raiders. Trey Tucker, 7 yards, wide receiver. Gardner Minshew, 7 yards, quarterback. DJ Turner, 4 yards, wide receiver. Those are the 3 leading rushers on the team. That's atrocious. And yet, Luke Getsy and Antonio Pierce just want to keep banging their heads against the wall, forcing a run game that's not there. I don't want Gardner Minshew throwing the ball 40 times a game either. Well, that's better than just run on first down, run on second down, third down throw. It's just every drive, and it's driving me nuts.
RJ Clifford, expert on SiriusXM, the MMA channel, and he does the Autumn Windbags podcast.
Did you ever weigh in on that name, the Autumn Windbags? Ever get your opinion on it?
I love it. I think it's tremendous. I think it's awesome. Good. That's why I say it with such conviction. Autumn Windbags. The failures of the run game. Is it scheme or is it execution?
Yes. When Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing 2 seasons ago, right? Everyone's hyping up. Josh McDaniels is trying to say, oh, the scheme's so great. The O-line trying to pat themselves on the back. Josh Jacobs had 900 yards after contact. 900 yards after a defender hit him. He was a one-man rushing attack. It was all him. It wasn't good scheme. It wasn't good blocking. It was all masked behind Josh Jacobs' otherworldly ability to break tackles. And now that he's gone, you got Madison, who you just nick him in the knee and he goes down. Zamir White, who I don't know if he's nearsighted, farsighted, colorblind, or what, but he can't find a hole to save his life. And then we got an O-line that's just kind of cobbled together with baling wire and duct tape. No kidding, the rushing is going to be terrible. And then you got Luke Getsy, who's trying to, we're going to go more to a zone away from the power, but we're going to mix it. And he got a little creative in week 3 with some end arounds and stuff that gave me a little hope, but there's just nothing going right. Josh Jacobs was just that good. That was the only reason this team could run the ball.
Yep. And he had a big day yesterday. He's out to a good start with the Packers, which is why, I don't know, if you try to explain the case to me that it's scheme with back-to-back coaching staffs. It's scheme?
Well, it was the same, similar to offensive line, right? Couple new faces, but generally the offensive line's kind of the same. Obviously, Zamir White has been on the team, both seasons. So him being very effective in the last 4 games last season and now completely ineffective this season. It's scheme. It's poor running back. It's poor line. I mean, when you're averaging 1.6 yards per carry, there's a lot of blame to go around. There's a ton of blame to go around. Cofield, you could fall forward for 3 yards behind a semi-decent line. 1.6 yards per carry? 1.6 yards per carry. Come on.
Well, I think this year, some of it is scheme, but I think it's execution. They're playing so many developmental offensive linemen. So that's a problem. And I really think, they're trying to do the running back room in an economical fashion, and then there's kind of being ridiculous and not spending any money on it. And like, I would be annoyed as a Raiders fan when I looked yesterday and Kareem Hunt was on the street. And it's not like he went for like 150 yards yesterday, but Kareem Hunt was on the street. Arguably best team in football gets to pick him up. The Cowboys, we'll see what they eventually get out of Dalvin Cook, but I feel like there were running backs out there. They didn't have to go in with this room, and the room is not very good.
Yeah, I'm not, and I get the construction of it, right? You've got Zamir White, who's supposed to be the young power back, like the guy's just physically imposing. Like, he's the guy you want to see getting off the bus. And you got Madison, who's the veteran. You got, Amir Abdullah for the third down. So, like, I understood the construction of this running back room. They're just not good. And they're not good at what they want them to be. Like, Zamir White can do a power running game semi-decently. An outside zone, he doesn't know where holes are. He can't find the hole. And so it's just square peg, round hole. And like you mentioned, the two best linemen so far playing this season are the rookies. Thank God Jackson Bowers-Johnson, DJ Glaze got drafted. Like, they're the only guys performing somewhat decently. Andre James is just lost at center. Now, he got hurt. Colton Miller was obviously I think he's our second most expensive player. And I don't know if he's just like not adjusted to it or if he's still injured or new injuries with that shoulder surgery he had. It's just awful. Like, there's no piece of this is working.
RJ Clifford's with us. It's Cofield and Company. We're here at Ellis Island, the front yard. We got the Steelers on the move inside the 20-yard line. 3-3 game, and Dodgers are out the quick start against the Yankees. The crazy thing with the Raiders, and I'm not really sure how to take this. I guess this can give you some false hope, and maybe the season is not as bad as it appears. I have a lot of respect for what Pro Football Focus does. Overall grade for the Raiders, that was actually the second best game they played all year by the grades. And they really weren't that far off with the Chiefs. We mentioned, banging their head into the wall, run. I think I gave too many runs there. But, the ball inside the 5-yard line, you don't score. They had other opportunities. They held the Chiefs in check. It wasn't like the Chiefs exploded all over them. I just don't know, like, how do you build positively on this? Because now they've had back-to-back losses where, well, they've had 4 in a row. But the most recent losses, they were in the game against the Rams, in the game against the Chiefs. I just don't know what to build off here. Like, I feel like they're in a position to win some games, but the schedule is also a pain in the ass as they're at Bengals and at the Tua-led Dolphins coming up next.
Yeah, I mean, it was Gardner Minshew's best game of the season. Didn't throw any interceptions. Obviously, he had that fumble because he's Gardner Minshew. He's going to cough up the ball at some point. But it's the problems we knew that were coming. They're just worse than we thought. Like Antonio Pierce, we all knew. Like, he's a brand new head coach. He's going to be outcoached. He's going to be out schemed. He's going to do some bonehead calls. But it's just been even worse than I thought. Like, using all your timeouts before the 2-minute warning, running out the clock to close out the first half when you have a chance to get points. And he was asked about the post-game presser, and he's like, well, I didn't want, Patrick Mahomes to have time left on the clock. It's like, well, what about your time? Like, he's such a defensively minded coach. He's forgetting that he has the ball. Like, he's already planning for Patrick Mahomes to beat them when we've got the ball. Like, it's just his brain is just stuck in defensive mode at all times. It's like that's hurt us. We haven't had a single fumble recovery in 8 games. 8 games, not one fumble recovery. And we've had options. The ball's been coughed up a couple times. Just can't pick it up. Like, the lack of takeaways, the penalties, that was like the bread and butter last season with Antonio Pierce. The lowest penalty rate in the NFL when he was the head coach. That's now gone. It's like the things we thought would be a problem are way worse than we thought, and things that he did well, he's not anymore. Like, this run game's atrocious. I mean, thank God for Brock Bowers and our special teams. Other than that, it's just nothing good.
Monday Night Football going down here at the front yard. Ellis Island, come on down. $7 bites, $7 drinks. You got the all-you-can-drink special, all-you-can-eat special, all-you-can-drink beer special. Menu here is awesome, and, of course, it's all done up for Halloween. This is a great place for Halloween week. We got a 2-0 game. Dodgers now batting in the top of the second against the Yankees, and Steelers just came up short on what a terrible pass that was. It was that was awful. Russell Wilson missed on a pass, so they kick a field goal, so it's 6-3. Steelers are on top of the Giants. Let me bounce around the NFL for 1 second. Throwing salt in the wound for the Raiders is the fact, and I'm still very apprehensive to give the guy the official nod of Cofield approval, and that's all that matters.
Big one.
It's a bad team yesterday that the Broncos were facing, although that team beat the Raiders. Are you starting to get a little sick to your stomach that Sean Payton has the Broncos at 5-3?
Sean Payton's too good for the Broncos to be that terrible that long. Yeah. He was gonna figure something out. I mean, that was the other part that was so frustrating with Antonio Pierce in that division. I mean, you look at the titans of coaches in the AFC West, and then there's basically rookie Antonio. And I don't want to turn this into an Antonio Pierce bassing session every time I'm on here. He's got an offensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have a good quarterback. The decimated injuries everywhere. There's no O-line. There's no he's doing his best with what he's got. But the coaches in the AFC West and then AP, like it's going to be bad. It's going to be brutal, and it's going to be brutal for a while. Like it's going to be brutal for a while until like his game of catch up that he needs to make, learning how to be a head coach, it needs to get at rocket speed because it's not going to get the coaching he's going to face is going to get worse, right? As Sean Payton learns that team more, as Harbaugh learns that team more, and Andy Reid somehow just keeps finding ways to win. Like these great coaches are getting better. And Antonio Pierce has to not just catch up to what they are now. He needs to catch up every new season.
Yeah, but I'm glad you mentioned Harbaugh because that's depressing that Harbaugh was available and the Raiders never really made a run on him. And there's even guys like they were never considered for the job. And yeah, they got the job done on a Hail Mary yesterday, but they outplayed the Bears. But like the job Dan Quinn's doing with Washington, he's changed the whole fortune of the franchise.
I don't think Harbaugh wanted to go to the Raiders. I don't. Look, if you are a really, really good head coach with a lot of options, are you picking the Raiders? Are you picking a team with the quarterback situation that we have? Are you picking a team with an owner that hasn't made great moves and fires coaches? Like, he didn't have to fire John Gruden. Like, he could have suspended him for a few weeks, let things die down. I mean, he would have taken some heat, but he didn't have to do that. He fired Josh McDaniels correctly so, but after just a season and a half, didn't even give him 2 full seasons. Like, why would you want to play for Mark Davis? Why would you want to coach for Mark Davis? Why would you want to coach Gardner Minshew? Like, that's what we're facing.
I got 2 minutes left. RJ Clifford's with us on Cofield Company. We always talk a little MMA if there was a big card the weekend before. There was.
Finally something good to talk about.
308. I know I saw you just waxing poetic about card living up to the hype. I don't have a lot of time left, but let's hit on Topuria first and then get to Chimaev. How impressive was that fight to finish Max Holloway?
Max Holloway, he's faced 29 different opponents, right? He's had multiple rematches, 34. He's faced 29 different opponents. Some of the very best hitters in MMA history. He's fought Dustin Poirier twice, Alexander Volkanovski 3 times, Justin Gaethje, Yair Rodriguez, Calvin Kattar, Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo twice, Anthony Pettis. Not one single man has been able to knock down Max Holloway. Not even knock him out. Just knock him down. Even get him on wobbly Bambi legs. No one has been able to do that. It took Ilia Topuria all of 12 minutes to send him face first onto the campus. Ilia Topuria is the best fighter on earth. He doesn't have the same resume, pound for pound, as John Jones, Islam Makhachev, some phenomenal fight. He doesn't have that resume. But watching him box, watching him move, and he's a jiu-jitsu guy first. He submitted everybody before the UFC. He knocks out everybody in the UFC. Watching his tight box, I was talking with Griffin before, like watching him box has got to be like how it was watching Picasso paint. It is just masterful. Like if I was training a fighter, like, all right, whose boxing am I going to mimic? It would be Ilia Topuria. It is so good to be able to just embarrass Max Holloway that way. A guy that's a brilliant striker in his own right with his long reach, incredible chin, incredible cardio. Hurt him, figure him out, get him on the back foot. He is the best fighter on earth. He's only 27.
Can Chimaev actually be the bigger star?
I think internationally he can. We saw like what Khabib Nurmagomedov was able to do as a star, like in Russia, getting like $1 million land gifts from Putin and, things like to be able to have like friends in those places could be very, very, very popular. And Khamzat Chimaev with his type of style and his personality and the way that he finishes people, like he didn't rear naked choke his opponent. He like Robert Whittaker didn't like have his like airwaves choked. He crushed Robert Whittaker's jaw, like shattered his jaw and sent it in 3 different directions with a grip Not a punch, not a kick, not a knee. With his grip, he shattered his jaw. Robert Whittaker's going to be eating out of a straw for months because Chimaev just squeezed it really hard. I mean, that is otherworldly strength. And that was after ragdolling him for 3 minutes on the ground. I mean, bad boy.
Well, I'm glad you got UFC 308. Makes up for some of the weekend. Sorry about your Raiders. We appreciate the time. Make sure this week you guys check out the Autumn Windbags podcast. RJ, we'll talk to you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
There he is. RJ Clifford. Big fight weekend. And remember, all the UFC fights are on right here. It was an afternoon card this weekend, but rest of the year, all the pay-per-views are on right here at Front Yard inside Ellis Island.
I'm Eli Manning.
And I'm Peyton Manning. We want to tell you about the Caesars Sportsbook Nevada app with Caesars Rewards.
You can instantly redeem your Caesars Reward credits for sports bets right on the app.
You can also use the Caesars Reward credits earned on the app